What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a good day. I'm hanging in there, just a little emotional. I was just watching some stuff and it made me think, I started thinking backwards. I started thinking back to, where did this all stem from? When did I realize this about myself? And it's just, I guess this is going to be about the moment I realized that I was really an empath. Um, this happened years ago. I guess I was at an IOP meeting that stands for intensive outpatient, and I was going to these 3 hour groups through 2 or 3 times a week or more, right? So I would go like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. And I would go there 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or whatever it was. It was a while back. And I'm sitting there and I'm not getting high anymore at the time. I'm sober. A lot of other people are sober. Obviously, there's going to be a couple people who are still going there and getting high because it's hard. It's not like everybody's going to be on the same page, right? So I'm sober. A lot of us are sober, and we're going around one day and we're just telling little stories about not glorifying the drug use or anything like that. And we're getting deep. In this particular class, we're getting deep and vulnerable with one another. We don't know each other from a hole in the wall, right? We're not familiar, but we're comfortable enough that we can share with each other because we know we're all going through the same type of thing, right? So I won't get into the specificities. Obviously, I would never ever name names or say anything like that, right? So somebody's talking and they're telling their story, and I guess it's about using drugs, and they have like a 2 year old and they're in the car and they decide to get high, and like they overdose and stuff but come back and the baby's in the car and all this stuff, and this dude's breaking down, sharing his life story, vulnerable, tears pouring down his face, and every single word was like a knife cutting me. And I start crying too, and I'm like bawling my eyes out and I'm like hyperventilating and I'm breathing real heavy, and then I'm trying to wipe the tears from my face, and I look around, and I'm like the only other one crying. Obviously the kid's crying, he's opening up, right? And he's the only. It's me and him. He's telling the story. He's lived it, so of course he's crying, right? And I'm bawling my eyes out, and because every word, it's like I haven't been through the same exact thing as him, but I can understand where he's coming from and how painful the story is. And I'm bawling my eyes out like a little schoolgirl, right? I look around and nobody else is really crying. Maybe they've heard the stories like this over and over and they've become numb to it, or maybe they're just not that emotionally involved in other people's lives. Maybe they can't. So I started to think, am I different? Is this a bad thing? Am I soft? Like, what is it? And I go and I look online and I find out that there's people called empaths, and these people in particular, their stories, or I guess the things that we feel, is on a much deeper level. Obviously, you could put some of that on the fact that I was newly clean at the time, so the emotions were hitting me stronger. But dude, I'm almost 7 years into my recovery journey right now, and I watch silly Instagram videos that make me cry like a little girl. So yeah, I'm an empath. And that's fine. It's not a bad thing. It's a bit of a burden sometimes. And if you're an empath, you understand the what I'm talking about, the dichotomy, how it can be a burden and a blessing. It's both. It's a double-edged sword. You can hurt yourself with it, so you have to be careful. But and then I went on this self realizing journey of like, who am I really then? Okay, I'm an empath. That's just one part of who I am. What else am I? Oh, I'm this. Okay. We're all much more than just one or two things. You can't just put us in a box. We're so complex. We're so beautiful. You can't just say, oh, Josh, oh, yeah, the white kid who's 35 years old and likes to play martial art, likes to train martial arts. That's not it. That's like one millionth of who I am. You need to understand the complexities of one human soul. Okay. And I started to be able, anyways, time goes on, I start to be able to learn more about it, and I start to be able to embrace who I truly am instead of run from it, instead of feeling ashamed of it. Like, You know what I mean? I used to, so then it made more sense why when I would fall in love with a girl and we'd break up after a year or a year and a half, and then I date another girl and we date for a year or a year and a half and we break up, and every time they'd leave me, and I'm like, why? Because I'm an empath. When I'm really in love with somebody, I'm a ride or die for you. And the girls I was dating at the time were girls. They weren't women. I mean, they were a woman, 18 plus. This isn't no weirdo shit, right? But but I'm saying mentally, they were girls, dude. And I was a man trying to date a woman, thinking that they were a woman, but they weren't. They were not on my level mentally. You know what I mean? So they something goes shaky, and instead of trying to fix it, they dip, right? And I would never do that. And I wondered, why is this happening? Am I the common denominator? Turns out I was, but not for the reasons I thought. I thought I was less than. I thought I was the reason people left because I'm a bad person or something. It's not because of that. It's because we're on different wavelengths entirely. The person who's right for me is also going to be an empath. But together we're going to be able to ground one another, and work towards things. So that's it. You know what I mean? And if you're struggling with something like that, or you did in your life before, know that you're not alone, because I'm here right now sharing this in real time with you, you know? And this is different. I don't have my notebook out. I'm not looking down at the notes and stuff like that. This is just from the heart. And there's something to it where you just have to be able to embrace it when you find out who you are. You know what I mean? And you can use it as a gift. Don't let it become a curse. You know what I mean? Uplift other people when you can. I feel other people's pain as if it was my own, and that is a hell of a burden to carry. But, and this is a big but, I can use that to show them that they're not alone. I can use that to show them, oh my God, I was sharing my story and I saw another kid cry. That means that I'm not alone in this. Maybe he felt a little better. I would hope that my tears would make him feel a little better and make him feel like he could share that story again and again, and not feel like he has to hold it in and let it eat at him every single waking moment of his life. This is the gift that God has bestowed me with. Okay? And then let's take it back to when I was a kid. Like I said, getting hurt by all my ex girlfriends, right? Then I went to drugs eventually after 3 or 4 times in a row. I'm like, something ain't right. So instead of going for another girlfriend, I went for the drugs for the first time. Then I went down this bad rabbit hole for 9 to 12 years. Okay? But then I got out. God just wanted to mold me into the person I was going to become today. And unfortunately, drugs played a part in that. Okay, but it's because I was feeling my whole life, ever since my conception, I've always felt emotions on other people, emotions of other people. I've always felt my own emotions. If that's how strong it is that somebody's telling a story and I'm supposed to be this big macho manly man, MMA fighter, trainer, guy who could wreck anybody, 6'4", 250, in shape, knows how to actually fight, then why am I crying and sobbing like a little schoolgirl? Because God made me unique, okay? We don't all fit one stereotype. This is what the world does to you to try to shape and mold us into a good little slave, a good little robot. Break free from all of that. Learn who you really are, and then learn to embrace it and learn to make it your power. Okay? Don't look at it as a weakness. I know that it's a burden, but it's not a weakness, okay? What I carry causes me great pain, but it also I can use it to cause others great pleasure. Okay? And this is my gift to give to the world, not my gift to hold for me, to hold on the inside and try to deny it and shy away from it. No, embrace it fully. Okay? Become your best self. But this is why I would run from these emotions, because actually, by the time I was 16 to 18, those emotions were way too much for me. They were simply way too much, and I had to numb all the emotions with drugs. That's why I was using drugs. At first, it might have been curiosity or interest, or, oh, my friends are doing it, so I'll try it on a Saturday night. But it quickly became my vice. I realized, oh, I don't feel all these negative emotions, and I don't feel other people's stories when they say it. I'm like this. Like, if I was high that day and that kid was telling that story, bawling his eyes out, this would have been me. That's it. Fucking probably even worse. Like, not enough. You know what I mean? But because I was sober minded, I was able to be my true, authentic self. And this is why it says, be sober minded, for the devil is roaring like a lion seeking whom he can devour. That's why it says that in the Bible, be sober minded. Because when we're not sober minded, we're numbing ourselves. We're shying away from who we really are at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And this is about acceptance, embracing yourself, embracing love from others, embracing what God has bestowed upon you so graciously. So yeah, I guess that's just a little story of how I first found out that I am in fact an empath. Um, but yeah, anything that you guys thought, any people who could relate to this, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, comment, share. Any of the 4 would be great. 1 out of 4 would be a big change for me. I'm just starting this channel. I'm like a month in. But yeah, I just wanted to keep it real today, and instead of writing something that sounded a little robotic, writing pen to pad and just reading off of my script that I wrote for myself, I figured I'd just speak from the heart for once. And I'll do this every once in a while because I think it's good for my soul and it's good for other people on their therapeutic healing journeys. That's all I got in this video. So until next time, stay safe, be blessed, and live lavishly. I'll see you guys in the next one. I want you to know I love you all. If nobody's told you that they love you today, know that I just have. I love you all. Peace.